So welcome on stage, and I'm really excited about the theme of this panel. Don't take it that I'm not excited to be with you, but I want to first share with you why I'm passionate about the real estate tokenization. As you know, I come from Wall Street, and those were the years that we were à l'ancienne tokenizing real estate with all the CDOs and CMOs and the financial engineering. And I don't want to bring that taint to this theme, but it does seem that we are now in the new phase of financial engineering with respect to real estate. And I know you're all involved in different ways, so why don't we start by introducing yourselves, Stephan, and telling us very briefly what your companies are about, how you're involved in this space of real estate tokenization.
Thanks, Effie. Yeah, Stephan Rind. I started a real estate company back in 2002 after being an investment banker. And it turned out to be a unicorn. It was a listed company, the third largest residential real estate company in Germany, was taken over by a public sale in 2011. And we started last year in forming a new company, BrickMark AG, which is based in Zug. And the idea is really to create a digital REIT, a digital security, which is backed by real estate. And our assessment is more like not single tokenization of buildings, but building up a portfolio of a couple of billions over time.
Great. We'll deep dive into what exactly you're doing. I'm going to go right to Tasha, who comes all the way from Finland. Tell us what prop tech you're leading.
I'm a co-founder of PropTech Finland. We are building the community around innovation in construction and real estate, and we are trying to help startups to innovate in a way which is feasible and basically applicable for their main clients, construction companies and real estate companies. So our main target is to bring these two stakeholders together and find a way for them to work and make money.
Great. Great. Under?
Yeah, Wouter Trevino. I'm from the Netherlands, and I work for Holland Contech and PropTech. And besides that, I have also, I'm the founder of Global PropTech. And within the Netherlands, we have like an ecosystem of 200 companies right now, 120 startups on one side, and on the other side, 80 corporate organizations within construction and real estate. And well, the startups, we help to match them with the corporate organizations, of course, to create business. And the corporate organizations, we help them to become more innovative and to help them with mindset and culture, because the technology is already out there, like blockchain, but also big data stuff and Internet of Things and all kind of other technologies. So they really need to be helped with building a culture and to get their people to start using the technology. So that's what we do in the Netherlands.
Great. And Kuram, you come from, where are you coming from? Are you flying from the UAE? Are you flying from the US?
So we're basically, I'm a very early adopter of crypto. We got involved in 2011. But I come from a family office with real estate investments. So we have public real estate investments. We have private real estate investments in multiple countries. We understand the entire development process, from even on the mortgage side, to tranche warfare, to different situations within the financial side of the real estate asset. And it's really interesting because real estate is it's considered a big boys game, because the amount of capital needed, you need to be backed by a lot of capital. And blockchain is such an innovative way where we can create liquidity within real estate. And it's going to be a very exciting next few years. So,
great. So, Stephan, I want to start with you because everybody's familiar with REITs, and I want to hear from you what exactly is the differentiation that is enabled by blockchain. Is it just about being able to diminish the administrative costs or the share that you can pass over to the end consumer? Is that it, or is there more?
Well, you get the basic advantages of blockchain technology through the smart contract, cost-effective, very efficient, transparent, immutable. But when it comes to real estate, I think the blockchain and the smart contract enables us to take various products, like debt instruments, equity instruments, hybrid instruments, take the characteristics of these classes and mix them in a unique way which hasn't been existing before.
So
you
what,
can
what do you mean? Are you sort of packaging rights and cash flows in different ways?
Yeah, let me give you an example. So BrickMark is built the way that it's based on a perpetual bond. So it's a debt by definition, but with a link to the NAV claim. So the development on the NAV increase over time, it behaves more like an equity. So from an investor perspective, at the same risk level, you get higher returns than traditional debt instruments. From a return level, you get the same kind of return like in a REIT or public real estate company, but with a lower risk profile. In addition to that, you can even add things like voting rights for special situations to a bond, which doesn't exist in the real world. You can also create certain dividend rights and distribution in kind, liquidation preferences, which doesn't exist in the current world right now. So that's what really fascinated me about the idea, and that's why I think with JP Morgan, Fidelity's announcement that we are very close to the very big players entering the market. They're probably 1 or 2 years out, but then I think in 5 or 10 years out, the majority of any kind of financial or capital market instruments which will be issued will be on a digital security basis.
Great. Now, Tasha and Wunder, since you're involved in prop tech, which is not all a blockchain, can you share with us how you think that blockchain is really going to change the space, even though we don't have the land registries already on the blockchain? Is it possible to actually have an impact without having the land registries, or should we start with the land registries? What are you seeing in the market, and how do you see these things?
Yeah, I think Finland is sort of mentally ready for that, because we have this concept of buying property as a share. For example, if I buy a flat in a house, I don't buy some particular flat number X. I'm buying shares from 1 to 30, corresponding to like square meters in my flat. Of course, right now they attach to certain flats, but theoretically you can digitalize these shares and sell them one by one. Maybe mentally it's not like makes any sense for Finns now, because people are buying flats to live there. Nobody buys 1 meter, but we have some kind of legal concept which helps to make a token out of this, paper document. And for now, we see only one startup in our ecosystem, DAZZ. But they're calling themselves crypto anarchists, trying to disrupt the world of real estate and build a platform for tokenizing real estate in Finland. I don't see any projects there yet, but maybe later on we will see some disruption, like real disruption happening. And of course we have lots of those marketplaces, but it's got kind of more traditional approach to selling and buying property.
How about you, Wunder? What do you see in the Netherlands?
Yeah, what we see in the Netherlands happening, we have I think we right now have 25 startups that are into blockchain, and all different kind of variations, from tokenizations to process automation, or different kind of solutions. But for tokenizations, we have, for instance, a lot of people in the Netherlands own their own house. I think it's at about 80% or something. And the generation, well, the elderly people are going with pension, and they don't want to leave their house yet, but they would like to tokenize their houses because then they can use that money to do something else, to go traveling or to use it, to use the money that is now really stacked into the owning of the house. So we have some projects with companies that are working on tokenization, a little bit parts of those kind of houses, and sell it to people that are right now renting houses for the housing associations, to really build also for those people that are really on the they not have as much money as the majority, to give them also an opportunity to become a homeowner eventually in time. So I think those kind of projects are really good, and it really starts with getting those use cases in as well.
Kurama, what are you seeing, and how do you see also the investors? How are they prepared, and how do they understand the potential or what is going on now in the market?
Well, let me tell you a story. So once I got involved in blockchain, my family is like, you're doing something illegal. And my mom still probably thinks I'm doing something illegal in different countries. But so it's been a very long process to get real estate owners to understand the benefits of blockchain. But now with this concept of adding liquidity to a particular asset, which increases the value of the asset, that they understand very easily. So we're seeing, in fact, I'm working on a LP-GP structure, which is a limited partnership, general partnership. And we are tokenizing the equity, and we are tokenizing the debt on that asset, right? And then we plan to list it. In Dubai, UAE, we're seeing the government completely embrace this, embrace blockchain. We've seen the largest developer in the world, Emaar, has a relationship with Bitcoin Swiss here, and for accepting crypto in exchange of real estate. So we're seeing a lot of interest globally, internally and externally, trying to find new ways of creating liquidity within the different asset classes.
Great. I'm hearing a lot of hybrid potential here. You mentioned already in the context of REITs, and you're talking about tokenizing both the equity and the debt, which is also what happens traditionally, right? You raise money and then you get the mortgage and so on. So it's really taking those ideas and bringing them on the blockchain. Are you starting to see the potential of this in smart cities? And have you seen projects, or are you thinking about, sensors, smart cities with, tokenization of real estate and unlocking further value there, be it in public spaces like the Centrum was talking about, where it's not about ownership rights, but rights to use or to rent and so on. Where are we there? Is it too early?
Well, I'd like to just explain this. I was mesmerized. I was just in Toronto, and I was sitting with Google, and Google has created a real estate developer called Sidewalk Labs.
Yeah.
And they've taken a 12-acre piece of land in Toronto waterfront, and they plan to make this a complete smart city in terms of they're going to have hexagon-type structures, and it's going to heat the area so no one's going to slip and fall. The roads are going to have lighting, so people can, they can create complete pedestrian road, or complete car road, or complete at a flick of a button, or different timings. And one of the issues has evolved around it, which has become a big issue for the population, is privacy issues. So Google is taking pictures, low-resolution pictures, and that's become a big issue, is what are Google going to do with all that information? So I think that's one thing that we have to overcome, because if we implement smart cities, there's going to be a lot more data created. And how are we going to deal with the privacy laws? This is going to be an interesting situation to watch out over the next...
But Karam, there's smart cities and smart buildings I think there's also big differentiations in between. So we're involved in a project with micro apartments in Berlin, for example, so 20 square meter apartments, fully furnished in the center of Berlin. So these apartments are kind of smart apartments in terms of they're fully furnished. You got apps of controlling heating, air conditioning system, people, ringing on your door and you're not at home, you receive like a voice message on your cell phone. So this is one part. Whether sometimes it could get too smart in my way. So I think you always have to find a balance in between.
I'm seeing Danram coming on stage, so I think we have to wrap up. And thank you very much for sharing your stories and insights. Danram?
Let's give them a hand. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you.